Hey dolls, and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to share to you my do's and don'ts when it comes to blushes. Blushes can really amp up the look on your makeup application, but there are some things that you really have to take note of because it can really alter the look of your makeup look and it can go sideways if you don't follow some rules. So the first mistake that I see a lot of people do is getting a shade that is not suitable for their skin tone. So I am more of an olive tone, yellow tone, so I gravitate towards more of a warmer pink than a cooler pink because sometimes really blue, bright pink tones can look ashy on my face, or sometimes it just looks too much and it doesn't complement my warm skin tone. I think the easiest guide to knowing if you are a warm tone or a blue tone is that if gold jewelry looks good on you, most likely you're on a warm tone, but if silver looks good on you, then you're more of a blue tone. Now, if both gold and silver looks good on you, then you're probably on the neutral tone. As a guide, red and plum looks really good on deeper skin tone, coral and pink for pale or fair skin tone, and apricot and rose for a neutral skin tone. The number 2 mistake that I see is improper placement. Now, I always say makeup should be fun and there's really no rule to makeup, but there are placements that are not really quite suitable for some face shape. Main thing that I see a lot of people do is just concentrating on the apples of their cheeks, and sometimes all the colors are just placed on the apples. I think that the intensity of your blush should be blended out. Say if you want your blush placement to really pop up on your cheeks, just make sure that you just don't do a circular motion on the apple of your cheeks. When you're placing your blush, concentrate on your cheeks and then fade away up. In that way, you don't have just like a red blush on your cheeks and a red glob on your face. It's really nice if you could blend it out. The other placement mistake that I see is when people apply their blush, they drag it down when it should be upwards. You don't want to drag down because dragging down the blush can make your face look droopy. And as a general rule, your contour should be here, your blush should be here, and then your highlighter on top of your blush. And the 3 doesn't have to look all separated. You don't want to see a very defined like contour, blush, and highlighter. You just want them to be blended. Like, you see, this is my bronzer over here, but between my bronzer and my blush, it should be blended. So there's no straight line there. And then with my highlighter and my blush, there shouldn't be like just a one straight line of highlighter. It should be blended. The third mistake that I see people do is not using a blush brush intended for your blush. Sometimes I just see people grab like a face brush which is really big. I love to use the Sigma F40 contour brush. Similar to this is the MAC. I forgot the number, but I'm gonna put it here. And I think this is a dupe for that. What I like about this blush brush is that it's tapered, so it's going down. So this side is broader than this side, so it's perfect to put on your hairline and then go down. So like the blush is deposited like this and then tapering down. And if you want a broader look, you can switch the blush like this, so the blush can deposit more here and then fade out. So this is a good blush brush. You can also use a fan brush, but I always just gravitate to this brush. Now, you want to avoid using a really big brush. This one, you're gonna get a lot of blush, and when you apply it on, you're just gonna have like a wide area of blush on your face. You just want to start the application small, and then if you want to cover more, you just flick your brush up. You don't have to start with a big blush and just put it on your face, because again, it can deposit a lot of product and it can go everywhere on your face. So the 4th mistake that I see is not tapping your blush brush after getting your blush. I love to tap my brush after getting the product or tapping a little on the back of my hand, because a lot of blushes are very pigmented. So you have to remember, wherever you first place your blush brush, that's where most of the product will be deposited. And so again, if you want the concentration of the color on your cheeks, then tap it on your cheeks first. If you want the concentration to start with your hairline fading down, then you have to start on top of your ears near your hairline. A lot of people just go into their product and then immediately put the blush on. And a lot of blushes are sometimes not blendable, except for the MAC blushes. I think those are very blendable, but a lot of blushes are very pigmented, and once you put a lot of blush onto your face, it's, as with other makeup application, it's easier to add more than to remove. So always start with a subtle application and then add more if you need to. And you also have to note about texture. If you have textured skin, if you have a lot of bumps on your face, I suggest that you go with matte blushes, the one without shimmers, because the one with shimmers will just accentuate the texture on your face. And although I have textured skin and sometimes I want that shimmer on my face, and my go-to is the NARS Orgasm. Although it has shimmer, it's very, very fine, so that for me still works for my textured skin. But if you see blushes that have chunks of glitters in them, just stay away from that, especially if you have textured skin. Now, if you put too much blush, I think the best way to remove the excess blush is by using a damp sponge. Dry sponge also works, especially if you're using an airbrush sponge. This airbrush sponge is amazing. I have it in my store. I'll put it on the link down below. It's from alldolledupbyc.com, and you just flick it where you put the excess blush and it would really pick up the excess blush. I would stay away from adding foundation or powder foundation on top, because for one, it can alter the color of the blush, and also it can look very muddy on your face. So those are my 5 tips when doing blush application. I hope that you guys learned something from it, and if you did, please don't forget to like this video, don't forget to subscribe, and click that notification bell so you'll always be updated once a new video is out. Thank you so much, dolls, again for watching, and I'll see you on my next one.